Hey guys, it's Mrs. Akins. Really quickly, I forgot to do this in my kindergarten video, but this video is for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. If you are a kindergarten, young 5, or 1st grade, head to my channel, go to my videos, and you'll find yours, which is USA Music, Young 5, Kindergarten 1, Lesson 5. So, let's get started with our rhythm of the week. I'm excited about this one because we're going to do something fun with it. So, let's get going. So really quickly, here's our rhythm of the week. Again, we've got our time signature, our 4/4, and we've got our notes. So let's go ahead and we're going to start with our count. So what's the first thing that goes in the beginning of a measure is beat 1. Remember, especially for my 2nd graders and my 3rd graders, we're not using tas and ts anymore. We are using our counts. I know you can do it. So beat 1 always comes first. Awesome. So our quarter note gets beat 1. We're all set. So let's go on to beat 2. What's going to come first here? Is it going to be the beat or the and? It's going to be the beat. So I'm going to put 2 and then an and here. Remember, I use my plus sign for my and. Then we're going to go on to our next one, which is going to be beat. We've got 1, we've got 2. So next would be 3. And I do another and here because it's my second of the 8th notes. Remember, these do not get flipped. The and does not come first in a set of 8th notes like that. So I've got 4 beats in my measure. I've got beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, and now I need to put beat 4. So let me go ahead and do that. Fabulous. Okay, so let's speak this together. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Speak it with me again. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Nice job. Now, will you tap that with me somewhere? If you want to make an instrument, cool. If not, I'm just going to tap on my desk. Tap it with me. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Nice. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do something real quick. I'm going to write the beats in, but I'm going to write the beats in small underneath because we're going to add a musical marking. So here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Okay, so you see how I just kind of made them a little smaller? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these. So these are called accents. So in music, you might recognize these if you are doing greater than or less than numbers in math. But in music, these are called accents. And what they do is they want you to basically accent the note, so bring it out. So if we're doing a percussion instrument, like how I've been doing on my desk, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically hit a little bit harder on that note. So it's going to sound like this. Let me put my marker down. It's going to sound like this. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. You try it with me. So we're basically all I'm doing is I'm bringing my hand up a little higher so I have a little more space to bring it down. Ready? Try it with me. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Yeah, just like that. So if we see accents like that underneath the note head, all it's telling us is, hey, bring that note out. And this happens a lot in music, especially in like marches. If you're, I know I was just thinking about the 4th of July, and I was thinking about Stars and Stripes Forever, that march. This was maybe like a half hour ago. I don't know why I randomly thought of it, but those band marches, and we're actually going to talk a little bit more about those next week, are really, really, really full of accents so that they bring out all those notes. Oops, sorry, I just hit you. Okay, so we talked about musicals last week, and I had a really good time talking about those. And you know what's been really exciting was actually getting to see all of your responses that you guys sent back to me. It was really fun being able to read what you guys thought. What was your favorite? What did you like about them? I had a good time reading all of your responses. And there was not any one particular musical that was more popular. Everyone was kind of different on them, and I thought that was really cool. And I really liked the reasonings for a lot of you liked the music. Some of you thought that the costumes were really cool. Some of you thought that, or you just really liked the story to a particular musical, and that's fine too. So I mentioned operas last week, and I want to talk about opera today, and I'm hoping not to go too too wild with opera, but I do like opera, and I think it has a really important place in music and music history, and so I really wanted to talk about it briefly. So operas are similar to musicals in a lot of ways. They're similar because they are singers and actors and actresses on stage. They are telling a story, but they're using music and dance, and there's an orchestra in the pit, just like there is in musicals. But the differences are that operas really come from classical style, meaning that when we talk about classical music, we talk about classical music like Mozart and Beethoven, and that are really originating over in Europe. And that was where opera started, was in Europe. And so most operas are in different languages. They really use that classical style. They also, operas typically use more singing than they do talking. If I were able to show you that full, like let's say I showed you Matilda, the full musical Matilda, there'd be a lot of talking in it and trying to basically help move that story along. But with an opera, that doesn't really happen. There's not a lot of talking. They use mostly song to move the story forward and get that plot. So what you're going to hear today when you check out those videos for me that I have in the description, you're really going to hear the singing style that's really, really different. And this style really comes from the classical music, and it also comes from singing in an era with no microphones. There's a lot of you just using this big boomy voice, but that's not entirely it. It's just this really different style that kind of developed. Sometimes I hear people saying like, well, I like musicals better because they're so much cooler that I like what they're singing, and I don't like opera. It just sounds weird. I hear that a lot. And I know that opera is really different. It's not music that we typically listen to. And honestly, I have never sat down and fully just listened to a whole opera in my spare time. I've watched a few operas. It's a lot to take in, but there's a lot of really cool things about opera and a lot of really important things that have been very influential, which I'm going to talk about. So what you're going to see in opera is in the videos that I'm going to show you today, is you're going to see very similar things. You're going to see the main stars of the opera that are up in the forefront, and you're also going to see chorus members. Chorus members are people that are in the background. They're also professionally trained singers, professionally trained dancers, and they're in the background and adding to the story. And I have one video in particular that I have that kind of showcases the chorus. So I have 5 videos for you to watch. The first one you might recognize. I've shown this video in my classroom a few times, and I just absolutely love this video. Every time I watch it, I smile. So it's called Kids Meet an Opera Singer. And so you're actually going to meet Angel. Her name is Angel Blue, and she is an opera singer right now. She is super popular. She's up and coming. She's absolutely fabulous. And she's really creating a name for herself. So you're going to get to meet some kids who ask her some questions, and she kind of talks about the day in her life as an opera singer, kinds of things that she does. And you get to hear her sing, and she's awesome. She kind of says in that video that she's not famous, and she's being very humble because she really is becoming a very big deal right now in the opera world. After you watch that, check out Porgy and Bess. This is just a little clip. And basically what's happening in this opera is Porgy and Bess they were with a bunch of people, and their friends just left, and now they're alone, and they're professing their love for each other and how excited they are to spend the rest of forever together. And so it's this little love song between the two of them. And that video features Angel that you just watched in the video before it. So you kind of get to see her in action. It's so cool. Then check out the Barber of Seville, which I have. I've shown this video, but it's been a while since I've shown it in my room. And this is from the opera called the Barber of Seville. And basically what happens is, this is from the beginning, this video that you're going to see. It's basically the man named Figaro. He's one of the main characters. He comes to this new city, and he's a barber, and this whole song is about him being fabulous and excited, and he loves to cut hair, and he's amazing at cutting hair, and that's literally what the whole song is about. And so there are subtitles for that one. That one is in Italian, so you'll be able to see the subtitles on that one and kind of follow along with what he's singing about. Then check out, I have an opera from this one, they'll explain it. This is the Magic Flute. And really quickly, this is a Mozart opera. This is probably one of Mozart's most popular operas because it's really strange. Basically, very quickly, what's happening in the story is Tamino is this gentleman. He's a very handsome gentleman, and he is looking for this lady who is lost. And he meets this guy who's kind of like a bird man, and he gives him this magical flute that'll help him. And basically, Tamino plays this flute to basically help find the girl that he's looking for. But when he plays it, it enchants these animals that are around him. So I picked this video specifically for you guys because in this particular staging, the costuming of the animals behind him as he sings is so cool. I immediately thought of you guys because a lot of you commented on the really cool costumes in the staging for Lion King. And this is very cool. It's a little bit different, but it's equally cool. So really watch, particularly when the animals come out, you're going to kind of be able to see the mechanics. So watch for that. Okay. Then lastly, I have a video from Aida, and Aida is a opera that takes place in ancient Egypt. And what has happened, the chorus is singing about how fabulous Egypt is because there's these warriors that just went to battle and they came back and they won and they were victorious. And so they're just singing their praises to Egypt. And basically I chose this video because first of all, the set and the stage is so elaborate. It is very cool. And also it's a chance to kind of see how the chorus has an impact on the opera. It's really cool. So those are the 5 videos I have. There's actually one more that I have linked in there, which is actually just music, and I'll explain that in a minute. But check out all of those videos. I highly encourage you. Some of them are longer. If you don't end up watching the entire video, that's okay. But I really want you to take a listen. I want you to note the style difference. If I were to play you a clip from, if you were blindfolded and you listened to a clip of a musical and a clip of an opera, I'd hope that you would be able to tell the difference between the two because of that different musical style. And I think the second you listen to the opera, you're going to be like, oh yeah, these sound way different than last week. So a lot of these operas are really old. Most of these were written 100 years ago plus. But it's important to remember that operas, even though they're older and they're a different style, a style that we're not used to listening to, they still have an important place. They were very influential. A lot of operas kind of influenced early movie music. Ricard Vogner is a composer who I'm going to mention with that other video that I mentioned. His music for his operas was just fantastic. He was amazing at creating music that created suspense and excitement and all different kinds of emotions. And that kind of influences movie music. When we go to see a movie, the music that you're listening to has to go along with the emotions that you're feeling, or that the actors are trying to portray, even if it's a cartoon. So one thing is that a little clip from Wagner's opera Lohengrin is still used today. So basically there's this opera called Lohengrin, and there's a lady, and she is going to get married to this guy. She doesn't actually really know his name. That's like the whole plot, is that he's like he's this very secretive guy. Anyway, so she goes to get married, and there's this bridal chorus. And this is actually the bridal song that gets used in weddings today as a bride walks down to the aisle. So I guarantee I recognize it's not used in every wedding, but a lot of people still use this because it was just such a cool kind of melody, very catchy. People loved it. It's still used today. I have a link to that video, and I bet you that you'll recognize it when you hear it. So this opera music is still really important, even if we don't listen to it or don't hear it quite as often because it's so different. Still big. There's productions of operas all the time. There's opera houses everywhere. One of the most popular some of these videos are from is from the Metropolitan in New York City. And they're a huge deal, the Metropolitan. So definitely take a look at these videos. I have a link in the description also for you to tell me a little bit what you thought about them, kind of like last week, as I want to hear your thoughts because I enjoy reading them. I enjoy getting your feedback because I don't get to hear you right away after we watch a video together. So tell me your feedback because I want to know. Even if you were like, that Magic Flute one was a little funky, Mrs. Akins, I still want to know. Tell me about it, okay? As always, if you have any questions for me about opera, about anything that we've talked about, just holler at me. My email is down in the description. Send me a message on Google Classroom or a private comment on the assignment for opera, and I will get back to you so I can help in any way. But until then, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.